We just saw Christian Saving, your CEO, put out a memo to the staff, and I think it looks like the main reassurance that he's trying to make is the funding picture is good, the balance sheet is strong. Have you got your financing costs locked in? Because the concern for investors, Joerg, is that something like an S&P downgrade increases your funding costs.
Good morning, Matt. Yes, we have, and Christian Saving, our CEO, said that in his message to the employees. We have done a considerable part here of our funding costs. So this is nothing that keeps us awake at night. And we have refinanced ourselves this year at a quiet, for very good conditions. So that's not a worry at all for us, and we are able to react if necessary.
Joerg, how have clients been reacting to this wave of bad news? I know the big negative stories have just broken this morning and yesterday, but what are the clients that you're in contact with saying? Have you gotten any reassurances?
It's a lot if you see the headlines, and as in the last couple of weeks, it has been a lot, and I can promise you we are trying to get a little bit more boring, and that there will be less news coming on Deutsche Bank. Having said that, we feel a lot of support from clients because we are in a communication with them. We have been prepared. This has not come as a surprise for us. And there's also some good news in the bad news. If you look at Standard & Poor's and the stable outlook, this is a good news for us. And it's a sign of trust in the management, which is very important for us. So there is something we can point at. And it's not that we haven't done anything. We have done a lot in the last 2 years, in the last 3 years. There has happened a lot already. Please remember the litigation issues. We have solved the capital increase. We have the strategy, have adapted the strategy last year with the capital increase. Now again, we are moving forward very decisively on our steps. So that is what we really need to do, and that is what we are working on. And this sign of trust is a good one. And we know that we have to execute, and that I can promise you is absolutely core. And the focus, we have not a lack of analysis, we have not a lack of concept. We will now execute. And I've been in this company now for 3 years almost. I can tell you there is a shift to a very, very focused, determined execution on our strategy, and we are quite convinced and sure that this will pay out very soon.
When is CEO Christian Saving going to be willing to step up and put that on display, Joerg? Because I would expect to talk to the CEO on a day like this, reassuring Bloomberg viewers. It's great to have you, the spokesman, here, but why isn't Christian Saving here on with us today?
Very simple, because probably your headline then would be Deutsche Bank in panic, putting out their CEO. We are not. Look, the news yesterday, if you look at the Federal Reserve website, you can see that there are certain actions and certain things we are working on diligently. And since March last year, there was it's documented on the website. So effectively, while I cannot comment at all on anything which is with the regulators, I can point to the public things first. Second, look at the downgrade today, and the outlook is stable. And to be honest, this is a situation we internally, if there hadn't been that market reaction, you wouldn't even see me on the channel, and I would stay calm too. And you will see enough of Christian. There have been a lot of occasions. He started out and communicated a lot. Then he really had an investors conference in New York last week. He's been in permanent dialogue with all stakeholder groups. I mean, there's not a lack of communication of Christian Saving, but I can tell you also that Christian says, let's do our job. We are not paid for communicating permanently. We are paid for, and we are owning our shareholders and all our stakeholders, that we deliver on our targets, that we set credible targets, transparent targets, and that we deliver on them. That is our priority, and hopefully in next week we can go back to work and be less, and it can be more quiet.
Well, we see, the headlines are in the equity price, Joerg, but the debt prices have been retreating too. Should the ratings downgrade matter to debt investors? There were previously concerns that Deutsche Bank would skip interest payments on its AT1 debt, and we've seen the price of that debt falling again. Could investors be worried about that?
They shouldn't. I mean, look, first of all, we are investment grade, outlook stable. Second, we have done a lot already on refinancing in this year. We got it for good market conditions. That is nothing. So if anybody wants to see us or puts us under pressure, we are in a good situation to answer to that. So I don't see any reason why, especially our bond investors, should be worried at all. The share price is one thing, but let's face it, the share price is also, we don't have that many active trading shareholders, actively trading shareholders. We have stable shareholders and we have a lot of passive shareholders. And that is not really what we are looking at. In the moment right now, it is very important, but while it is important, it is nothing we can change on a day-to-day basis. We have to do our job to create shareholder value, to get the share price up again. And definitely for us, the bond market is very important. Our refinancing is very important on a day-to-day basis. But there we see reactions with the share price. When the share price bounces like yesterday, when it drops, you see these reactions. But we are quite definite that will calm down again. And if you look at our CDS, this is also kind of a proxy for a lot of developments, and it's having these movements. But there's no reason for us to worry about that.
Are you in talks with any of the bigger shareholders? I mean, H&A comes to mind immediately, Joerg. They've been reducing their stake. Even after they said they wouldn't, they continued to let options expire and do it for them. Do you think that they're going to end up reducing it further, or will this share price drop turn that around?
Nice try, Matt. I will never comment on our shareholders. That's what I cannot do. I can only tell you that we are definitely in a dialogue. And you mentioned H&A, but there's also Cerberus as a shareholder. There's the Qatari shareholders. There are shareholders, and definitely you need the dialogue. And that's something I can reaffirm that Christian Sewing is very much in the dialogue with investors, like our CFO, James von Moltke. This is extremely important to us, and we want to know what their feelings are and what their thoughts are about our bank. That's for sure. But having said that, I won't comment on any other shareholders, but because there sometimes are certain factors which are not DB specific, Deutsche Bank specific, and there's nothing I can comment on.
One thing that's Deutsche Bank specific is the retreat from the equities business in a magnitude the likes of which we haven't seen. How are clients dealing with that? How can clients deal with the kind of changing day-to-day form of Deutsche Bank?
We are right-sizing our equities business. That is true. We have announced that we cut the balance sheet as well as on the employee side by 25%. We are refocusing it. We are rebalancing it. It is a question of execution and doing it fast and swiftly, and that's what we are doing right now. There is a lot already done in this area, and as you can see, the determination of the management is big. We are absolutely determined to execute quickly on the things we have communicated, and this process has been going on already in the last 8 weeks, and it continues to go on now, and it will be done quickly, and then we will have our new positioning in the market, and we are sure that this will be a more profitable business then, and we will be still in the equity business. We are not retreating. We are there, and we are there to stay.
Joerg, the good news about being on Bloomberg is anything you share with us becomes public. So you can tell us, for example, how the business has been this quarter, and everyone knows at the same time. How is this quarter panning out then?
Christian Sewing said at our AGM last week that this is a challenging quarter. And I have nothing to add to this, only that I can say definitely this is a difficult environment, and all the things that has been happening, headlines like that, are not really helping. But on the other hand, we have a good team there, a very ambitious and determined team in our corporate and investment bank. Yes, it's a difficult situation when you are right-sizing, when you're reshaping a part of your business. It's always noisy. It doesn't help. But having said that, we are determined to bring this process, finish up this process very soon. And then we are very convinced that we have a team in place that is determined to make the business grow again, to strengthen our strong parts. And we have a lot of strong parts in our corporate investment bank. There has been a lot of writing us off, but look at in our fixed income business, in our financing business, debt capital markets, in our cash management, global transaction bank. This is the DNA of the company. And we shouldn't forget that. It has a journalist last week wrote in Germany that we are focusing on our private and commercial bank. That is not in line with our own projections. And the corporate investment bank is core and DNA of Deutsche Bank. And that we shouldn't forget by all the discussions right now around us. That means, yes, focused on shareholder value, on profitability, focused on doing the steps quickly and having targets, being credible. But we are there to stay in this business. It is core of Deutsche Bank, and even in our projections, this is half of Deutsche Bank, and we shouldn't forget that, and we should not say that we are retreating. We are not.